Here are 7 of the worst mistakes you're making as a harmony singer. I've worked with lots of harmony singers and I've sort of figured out the things that are challenges and common mistakes. And if you're not making the first mistake, you're very likely making the 5th mistake because these build upon each other. The first thing is not being able to change a specific note within the harmony part. So lots of people, they can find a harmony and they can sing that harmony part, but then they have a really hard time changing one note. And that is super important because very likely the harmony part that you've come up with by ear is not exactly perfect. So you might want to change a specific note. And if you're not able to identify that specific note that needs to be changed, then it becomes a problem. When I work with my singers on the team, I'm usually telling them, oh, I like what you found, but hey, could you fix that one note to create a better sound? So the best way to kind of get used to changing specific notes is to assign every note in the scale a number. And so that means you're singing your harmony part on numbers. Then it becomes clear, like, okay, I need to change that 4 and it needs to become a 3 instead. It just helps to identify that. So if you're like, well, that'd be cool, but I don't know how to start, I have a free harmony challenge in the description that'll get you used to the power of singing on numbers. You can also find some other videos that we've made on it here on YouTube. The second mistake is that you're jumping between harmony parts and not singing a consistent part all the way through. What do I mean by this? The way that this works is that usually we have a melody line, right? And just imagine that the melody is going up and down, however it goes. Then we need to have a harmony part that follows the same exact trajectory of the melody in thirds and fourths the whole time. And usually we have one harmony that's above the melody, which I oftentimes call the upper harmony, and then one harmony that's below the melody that also goes in thirds or fourths along with the melody, and I call that the lower harmony. Some people call this the tenor, the alto, the soprano. But you want to stick to your designated harmony part the whole time, especially when you're singing with 3 parts. Because then if you don't, you can imagine you'll all of a sudden be stepping on someone else's harmony part and getting in their lane, and now they don't know what to sing, right? This isn't as important when you're only having 2 voices. Then you might actually purposefully choose to sing other harmony parts. But if you're singing with 3-part vocals, it's really important that you stick to your part. And the way to do this is just to use tutorials that are out there where people have put in the time to make sure that this is the right part that's gonna sound good. The other way is just on a piano or a notation, make sure that you're singing a note that's always following in thirds or fourths with the melody. If you're all of a sudden going into the territory of like a 5th or a 6th when you're supposed to be in a 3rd or 4th, then you know that you're stepping on the other person's harmony. So that is how you can do it. If you want help with that, there's a video that I put together, you can find somewhere up here, that's exactly on how to do this and goes into the details of 3-part harmony. So check that one out. The next mistake is that you're singing a note that's creating an undesirable dissonance in the harmony. Now, some dissonance is not bad and it sounds great, but especially in worship music, there's a couple chords that just don't sound the best. The main one is, I try to avoid the dominant 7. And what that is that in the song, whenever you have the 5 chord, you want to avoid singing on scale degree 4, which is the 7th away from the 5. The other one is the diminished 7 chord. You want to avoid that. And that's basically similar as the dominant 7 chord. The challenge usually occurs because of this. When we're singing in 3-part harmony, we are creating a chord on every single syllable that we're singing. That means that we're singing lots of chords, right? And lots of times we want to obviously match whatever's happening in the accompaniment whenever we can. But because of all of the fast melody notes, it's oftentimes impossible to always do that. So the framework that I think about is to avoid singing scale degree 7 and 4 on those fast notes. So if you're singing a harmony part, avoid those 2 notes, and that usually works out. And then the times that you can sing a 7 are when you're on a 5 chord, and the times you can sing a 4 is when you're on the 4 chord. Other than that, whenever you're singing fast notes, try to avoid those. So that usually means that you're gonna sing a line that goes like 1-6-5 instead of singing 1-7-6. You're gonna just skip over the 7. In other words, you're always singing on the pentatonic scale when you're singing fast passing notes. Now, if you're doing all of those things correctly, you're doing really great. So thumbs up to you, but there's still a lot more consideration. So the 4th mistake that you still might be making is not blending with the lead vocalist. As a harmony singer, it's really our main job to support and blend in with the lead singer. You don't want to be sticking out and doing things that are off. So what this means is that you need to listen carefully and notice how the lead singer is saying their words, and you want to say them the same way. So in other words, you want to phrase things similarly. You want to make sure that you're singing with the same dynamics that the lead singer is. Like, it would be terrible if the lead singer was singing soft and you're out there singing your correct harmony part super loud. Like, what are you doing then? You know, you have to match it. Match the lead singer and fit underneath them. You're not singing a solo. You are actually supporting, as that's your job, and that's the fun part of it. Also, make sure that you're not holding out your notes longer than the lead singer. That's a common mistake. You just kind of get in your zone and you're holding your note super long. You're like, wait, this lead singer stopped already. Make sure that you don't do that, because then you're gonna stick out. Chop off your notes, if anything, before the lead singer, but ideally right with them. Now, maybe you're doing all of that, awesome. The next mistake is that you're not tuning though. If you do all those things great, but you don't tune, then it just, there's something missing, because it's possible to sing your note correctly, but just be out of tune with it slightly. Our voices are very, what should I say? How do you say it? Our voices are like able to make very small micro adjustments. And because of that, we can oftentimes be off by a little bit. So it's really important that as a harmony singer, we're always opening our ears to what's happening around us, to the other vocalists, the instrumentation, and making sure that we are tuning really in the center of the pitch and singing accurately that way. That will sound amazing. It'll make a huge difference. The next mistake is just coming in at the wrong time. You might have all of your parts down beautifully and you're singing them beautifully, but if you sing harmony the whole way through, it just won't lend itself to the song very well. It won't sound good. So you need, as a harmony singer, to be aware of when you should sing your harmony and when you should just lay out and not sing your harmony. My recommendation is that you listen to the original recording that you're trying to go off of and listen to when the harmony parts come in. And then you can do something similar to that. The way that I generally arrange vocals is I think of it this way. You wanna see yourself as adding to the dynamics of the arrangement of the song. So the softest dynamic, I would suggest that you don't sing at all, just let the lead singer sing. Now the next level up, that's where you as the harmony singer, I would suggest that you just sing melody with the lead singer. No harmony part at all. Then the next level of dynamics, I would suggest only one harmony part. So even if there's multiple singers, the rest of the singers are still singing melody and one person is singing a harmony. Now the next level above that, I'd say this would be like a mezzo forte or like a loud chorus, usually like a second chorus, is when I would have the 3-part harmony come in for the first time. And then I would say the loudest part of the song is when you could potentially invert all of your harmony parts to a higher harmony up, so that everyone's singing higher in their voice, and that just sounds louder and even stronger. Now the last mistake is honestly the most important and worst mistake, and that is not singing from your heart and not just truly worshiping. Because if we consider all these details and just think about them all and get them all correctly, but we're not singing from our hearts, we're not really worshiping, then that's honestly, we're missing out the most. And I think that is so important that we just, work as much as we can on making a beautiful sound. All of these details really truly are and should be our worship to the Lord. But if that's where we stay, if we only stay in the details and we don't go beyond that to really just say, Lord, take everything and let it be for your glory, and I just want to sing for you. I've done the work, but I just want to put it all in your hands and look to you and praise you and lead your people to give you the glory. That's what we should be thinking as harmony singers, as worship singers. Ephesians 5:19 says to sing and make melody with your hearts to the Lord. And that's exactly what we should be doing as harmony singers, is just singing praise to the Lord. So I just hope that you can have your mind set on praising him and allow these details to be praised to him as well as you get all these little things down. If you want to try our harmony challenge, again, it's in the description. Get used to singing on numbers. And I think this video here is gonna be really interesting to you if you wanna figure out how to get better at singing 3-part harmonies and not singing those notes that clash. So this video goes over exactly how to sing flawless 3-part harmonies. So I'll see you over here.